Greetings, sidekicks! We are going to be reviewing well, right now it's the only Captain Underpants movie.
Yes, with our
So,
hosts, Poopsie Pizza Fanny and Oprah Toilet Shorts.
so, for those who don't know, this is actually based on the extremely popular uh, book series, and I would say extremely because I think Jessup could agree that we can't stress that enough because,
My name's Poopsie, remember?
Poopsie, yes. So, Poopsie and I agree that this franchise has been going on for years, probably since we were kids, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
still going strong to this day.
Yes, for those who know, me, Mr. Poopsie Pizza Fanny, is a teacher. My students are reading these books, and there's new ones I never read before. I don't know
No,
how good those ones are. I've just looked at the covers, but now they're in color because they were black and white for us, Oprah.
yeah, I do remember doing that, and I remember some of my students reading Underpants, and they would ask me questions a lot because I told them I read the comics growing up. Um,
My mom
no,
hated them.
what?
My mom hated them because of the
Yeah,
childish humor.
and when I saw that there was a movie that came out, and it's been about 6 years since this movie came out, and no, which is pretty surprising, but we'll get to that in just a little bit. But when this movie was announced that it was gonna be made, I kind of thought to myself, yeah, I can see that being a thing.
Yeah,
I mean, granted, I feel like they were a little bit late to the party, kind of like the Angry Birds and the Simpsons movie were.
but we were wrong. As we can attest, these books are still going strong.
Yep. Now we got to see this movie. I saw this movie for the first time in a very long time. This was your first time seeing it, wasn't it?
Yes, it was my first time, Oprah.
So after seeing this movie, what are your overall thoughts?
Well, it is complicated. There were many moments I laughed and thought it was very funny. And even if you take out the bathroom humor and potty humor, there is still like heart to this movie,
But
which
also,
is
let's be
surprising.
honest. The bathroom humor is kind of what made the books work.
Yeah, but the books do kind of have a moral to them because in the book, George and Harold, um, they it's been so long since I've read them. They kind of make their own worst problem. Like they were put in a bad situation before, and they thought making Captain Underpants would solve it. But when they actually turn their principal into Captain Underpants, they just make the problem worse.
Oh yeah,
So it's a very simple "be careful what you wish for" story.
pretty much. And we actually talked about how we definitely buy the friendship between George and Harold.
Oh yeah, even in
Um,
the book, I bought the friendship.
no, they were good. They really portrayed on like what made their friendship work. They gave us an origin story of like how they met, where they laughed at a very potty humor based joke,
Oh yeah,
and that actually ends up saving the day for them.
it does. All right.
Um,
They bring back a lot of stuff from the book. We get Professor Poopy Pants, who changed our names, unfortunately.
yes, we are victims of Professor Poopy Pants.
That will never get old.
Um,
Um,
and we
but they
also
set up the toilets from the book too.
yeah, I mean, there weren't really that many until like what the end.
Yeah, because they did reference some of the previous villains from the books we remember.
We talked about the Wedgie Woman.
Dr.
Let's
Diaper.
see. Yep. And
Not really those aliens who give Captain Underpants his powers in the book. Remember those?
yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Now, I do remember that they actually gave some of the characters in the books who really were kind of pushed off to the side. They actually gave them more personality, like the lunch lady, because there's a little bit of a romantic thing going on between her and the
And she was
principal.
voiced by Christian Shaw, an
Mhm.
actress whose work I adore.
And we also have Melvin, who's pretty much like the sleazy, like teacher's pet know-it-all. He was given quite a bit of personality in this one too, I think.
Yeah, no, I read one of the later ones that gave Melvin an arc. Um the what was it? It was like a two-part one. Because no, I remember reading one of them years later that gave Melvin a bigger arc. But they don't do any of that arc with Melvin.
Hmm.
The one that gave him more of an arc, I'm blanking on a lot. I saw that book the other day. One of the kids was reading it. Anyways,
Uh, now, and the other thing is that they should know is that there's a lot of fourth wall breaking in this movie.
I did not expect that because that's not in the book.
No, because George and Harold kind of like, okay, we know this isn't supposed to happen, but we're gonna change it up a little bit.
Yeah, let me define. And also, we got some different animation styles. Like at one point, they were sock puppets.
Oh yeah, and
By the way, during that sock puppet section, did you recognize those robots?
yes.
Those were the same ones Dr. Diaper had in the first book.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so clearly the director did their homework
Oh
on
yeah,
this one.
they did their homework on this.
So, which kind of begs the question that I think we actually talked about before we started recording this. So, this movie came out about 6 years ago. It had a relatively low budget, but it made a pretty decent amount at the box office.
What was it like 38, 35 million
It was like
budget?
35 million, yes, and it made roughly 120 million worldwide. Which
Which
begs
is
the
pretty good. I mean, it's not the
no,
best, but it's still very good.
it's definitely enough to warrant a sequel if that's what they wanted to do. Which
I
begs
wouldn't
the
mind a
question,
spin-off of Super Diaper Baby. Remember him?
yeah. Which begs the question, no, how come we haven't gotten a sequel yet?
Or a spin-off of Super Diaper Baby.
Yeah. I mean, in all honesty, I'd be happy to see another movie on this, or maybe even a TV show.
Yeah.
Now, like you said, this movie does have some heart when it's like not focusing on the toilet humor that
Yeah.
made the books very famous.
But even then, the toilet humor for us kind of harkens back to what we loved as kids.
Hmm.
That's really what we liked as kids. It's just all the gross stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Ugh. I
No,
mean, we all knew a George and Harold when we were growing up. We all knew a Melvin. We all had that one mean teacher we didn't like. So it harkens back to when you're a kid.
hmm
And that's kind of special.
no, and I'm actually glad that the author of Captain Underpants is still doing more work. I know he's made the Dogman books, which are also pretty popular.
Yeah, and they mentioned Dogman in the first Captain Underpants.
Hmm.
They say that Dogman was George and Harold's first creation. So it was
The
Captain Underpants who became popular.
The Dave Pilkey cinematic universe.
Oh gosh. Did you ever there's another series by him called Ricky Ricotta? Was that the name
Yes,
of
I
it?
remember that one.
Yeah, that has to get in there too. I would
So yeah, we overall really enjoyed this movie. Is it
Yeah.
perfect? No, but was it a good time? Absolutely.
Yeah, it is that like child innocence that just we love gross stuff as kids. As adults, we kind of grow out of it, but there's still that childish side to us that still loves it.
Oh yeah.
Um, by the way, that woman on the phone.
Oh, yeah. There was like a running joke where they kept this lady on the phone, and she's on it throughout the whole movie.
And then it just chalks up to like a post credits or
Christine,
mid-credits to her.
which you think would be like setting up a future sequel, but no, it's just there for laughs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I overall really enjoyed this movie. Maybe this is something I'll watch again eventually.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right,
It's
so
got that childish humor we all loved and craved. I'm trying to think of other movie like older movies that are like that. Maybe Pee Wee a bit. No, Pee
a
Wee isn't
little
very
bit, yeah, I'd say so.
yeah. The Pee Wee isn't very bathroom based.
No, he's pretty clean for the most part.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of something that was like really gross from when we were kids, like this.
I'm trying to remember. I can't really think of anything, honestly.
Yeah.
I know there were some shows that had like some really like dumb potty humor,
Yeah.
but I don't think there was anything that came as close as to
Well,
what
one thing we
Captain
can talk
Underpants
about
did.
is parents' reactions to Captain Underpants when it first came out. Like I said, my mom did not like these books at all.
Hmm.
Well, how did your parents feel about the Captain Underpants books?
I feel like they didn't mind it
Yeah.
too much. Like I had most of the books growing up. I think I had the first through the fifth one.
Yeah, no, I remember reading them all. I think usually I just check them out from libraries and stuff,
Right.
which was the only way I could get them because my mom really hated gross out humor or
Hmm.
bathroom humor. But that innocence is still there. Like I still grew up with it. I think my mom had to begrudgingly like give in, and I think she did buy me a couple of them. Um, do you know of other parents who probably hated them too?
Hmm.
So I remember there was a push because of how juvenile it was.
No, 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 no. I agree. I think it was mostly the shows. It was mostly shows that I didn't watch as a kid because of like how like um how like inappropriate they were.
Yeah.
I think the books were fine because like we were kids, we were learning how to read, and I guess that was something we could have read as kids.
No, I mean, there's always going to be a pushback from like older generations on stuff that's kind of bathroom humor or something that's so juvenile.
Hmm.
Um, I'm trying to think if there's anything. Are we starting to get old? Is there anything like that we should recognize now? Is probably just going to become like normal years from now that we think is bad for kids.
Let me think. There were a few shows that I never got to watch, but when I watched them as I got older, I thought to myself, yeah, I guess this is probably. I guess I can understand why, like I couldn't watch these shows.
Yeah, I see it too.
Um,
I can actually think of a time when I was like Melvin, honestly, because I never really understood the humor for SpongeBob.
no, and SpongeBob is known for having quite a bit of like adult humor in there.
Yeah, I never got that, which made me not like to show it when I was younger.
Hmm.
Even as an adult, I'm not really like I don't religiously watch it, but I've accepted it as it is. It's something that kids my age liked. Even if I didn't understand it, I just let it exist.
No, and while we're sort of on the subject, I actually remember when my parents actually introduced me to Rocky and Bullwinkle, as
Oh yeah.
that's kind of like how SpongeBob was back then compared to what it is today.
Yeah. And Captain Underpants is kind of the same way. It's this juvenile thing that uh, for its time, adults didn't like it. Kids thought it was hilarious.
Hmm.
Now it's found its place.
No, I think Captain Underpants will stay for quite a while.
Oh yeah, they're still making the books. There's no they're not slowing down.
No.
So and it's found its place. We all love
Mhm.
it. It's now just become normal.
So should we talk about what we're gonna do next time?
Yeah.
So next, we actually have a special themed month. We're still trying to finalize like our schedule, but we're gonna be doing Stephen King month just in time for spooky season.
I do. Hey, Will. One thing I wanted to ask you about that just quickly.
Yeah,
Because we are kind of a week late to that one, should we just go a little bit into November with it?
we could. Yeah.
Yeah. Two we're definitely doing. Is we're definitely doing it, the 1990 version,
Hmm.
and we're gonna do the Shawshank Redemption. Since I decided that was best, so if she can make it, on it has something to do with us.
Yeah, and I
In
think
the Stephen King
didn't you
month.
suggest Stand by Me too?
I did at one point, but that one's based on a short story that goes by a different name. And I think Shawshank's a lot more popular.
Okay, that's fair.
We could put both on, I guess.
No, because I actually remember Stand by Me having a pretty good reputation as one of the better Stephen King movies.
Yeah. By the way, this the short story it's based on is actually called The Body, not Stand by Me.
Hmm, okay, you learn
I
something
had
new
to
every
read it for
day.
a class when I was in college.
Okay, yeah, so we will be starting Stephen King month very soon. And until next time, you want to take it away?
Tra la la!
I don't get it.